Okay, so this is Rachel Hollis's Live in Action. This is her at the ClickFunnels, which I've sort of mentioned a couple times here. It's that website that you can use to like get people to join or sign up for your offerings. Some are legitimate, some seem to be less than legitimate. Even though she said on Oprah's stage that she would never speak on someone else's stage unless it was Oprah.
I made this decision. I said, I'm not speaking on anybody else's stages. And then jokingly, I said to my husband, unless Oprah calls.
But, you know, times are tough, perhaps. She decided to go on Russell Brunson's stage for his mastermind event. And this is the keynote taken from that. I have lots of things to say about it. I will say she has that preacher-like, pastor-like, what's the guy that just got, like, not just got, but the guy from Hillsong, the, you know, Justin Bieber preacher who's got like great cadence, is very, you know, good at speaking and delivering like the gospel in that way. You know, the content's irrelevant, really. It's the way that they're speaking and the way that they deliver the information. Very much so with Rachel. And that's what I found. And I think this really does showcase her talent, which is to take anything, like any words basically, and make them sound like, wow, what an amazing concept this is. Like, I never thought that, like, I could just do it. I could just, like, accomplish a goal. Like, I could just strap my shoes on and walk outside if I chose to. Like, the content's obvious and boring and nothing is interesting. But the way she says it, like, the way she, like, delivers it is what's interesting. And I find that to be true in this, but again, the content is just lacking in any sort of, number one, originality, number two, helpful advice, and number three, especially at the situation, I don't know how much it costs to go to a Russell Brunson mastermind event, but I'm assuming thousands, if not 1,000, I would imagine, just because it's a small audience and people are obsessed with this guy. So, and we can check too, actually. Let me see. I can just quickly look. It was in Boise, Idaho, as Rachel liked to say. She was kind of like making fun of, she didn't make fun of it, but she was kind of like, I went to Boise, Idaho, as if like she's never heard of it before. It's called Inner Circle. It's limited to 100 people at a time. What? Okay. Well, I guess these are people who are successful, so it makes sense. But if this is legitimate, which it looks like it might be, it says, yes, I want one of the last spots in Russell's Inner Circle, and I know the annual fee for the program is $50,000. And I must be grossing over $1 million in revenue. Okay, that makes me feel better. At least there's a limit on, or a cap or whatever, on like a minimum to attend. That makes me feel better. Yikes. Okay, so these people paid a lot of money, 50 grand to go to this event, allegedly. To see Rachel Hollis and others speak. In case you don't know who Russell Brunson is, this is him. He looks like every guy from every marriage announcement where the couple goes to church. That's what he looks like. Okay. So anyways, so Rachel goes to this event. She's speaking at this event, and she, gives this impassioned speech. But the subject matter is nothing to help you raise money, to get money. I don't think she knows how to, because look at her track record. So instead, she decides to talk about just being happy with what you have. Just making time for yourself and for massages. You know, that's what she really wants to teach on. And I find that to be a cop-out. It's like, if you aren't someone, like these people are paying $50,000 to learn lessons about like how to grow their business, and you're going to take 40 minutes of their time to tell them to like remember to talk to their children. The message is fine, but it's like, this is not the time or place I think that this message needs to be delivered. Like, I don't know. It's like all the things that she needs to hear, and it's like, oh, I'm just going to tell people what I need to hear, and they're going to pay me for it. I don't know. I think these are all, like, if you don't have expertise, don't go speaking to people. But, I know there's a whole industry that disagrees with me, but that's my take. Anyways, okay.
The last 2 days have been crazy. So I'm hopefully the next 2 sessions you guys just really enjoy. I'm excited for our speaker, someone who I've had a chance to watch a lot over the years that I just have so much respect for, and someone who's an amazing entrepreneur. So the backstory on who you guys are about to hear from, the very first time I ever heard her name was actually from my wife. And my wife and all her friends were going to a movie in a movie theater, and they said there's this person, she's like a personal development person, and she's got a movie in a movie theater.
Hold on, we're gonna take a second. Natasha, is this a spam? Are you a spam person? You are like funding my entire life today. I feel like this is fake. This can't be real. But if it is, thank you. I really appreciate it, for real. Like, thank you.
18 stinking dollars.
I think we're at like $1,800 for you, Natasha. And the most important part is that it's American dollars.
It is 18 American dollars.
Send me sadness swag. Okay, I will. I will do that somehow. Can you DM me on Instagram, Natasha? We'll figure out. We need to get you merch because you're the Sob Gang fundraising expert. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I know. Dang. Can we all say I need a dang? We need a hold on. Here's a this is you in the club. That's Natasha in the club. Thank you. For real. That's crazy. Okay. All right, back to Russell Brunson explaining who Rachel Hollis is.
Okay, and this is just coming back to like, a lot of you guys will know Rachel's like the author, but like an amazing marketer and entrepreneur and like just smart. Like she created a documentary showing her events that she ran live in movie theaters across America. Did any of you guys go to that or see that? It was like the coolest thing ever. So I went with my wife went, and then I had a chance to go also and watch this. And I watched this as like just one of the most unique marketing things I've ever seen. It was so cool. And then I went all in. I went and I bought the books, even though I think most of the books are not written for dudes like me, but I listened to books, I laughed, I cried, like all the kind of things, and just because I want to understand like what she was doing, why she was doing all this sort of stuff like that. And then about a year later, I had a chance to meet her in Puerto Rico, and we were in a small group of entrepreneurs who were all obsessed with our art and our mission. And as I would hear her talk about her business and her customers and what she was doing, you just see her light up the same way that any of us do. Like, it was just so much fun to see her and understand the strategies behind what they were doing and how they were doing it. And it's just been so much fun to watch her. And I've had a chance to learn from her from like the business standpoint, but also from the personal development, like understanding who we are, why we do what we do, and just getting into the mindset and just so many other cool things. I'm also grateful because
he's giving like a fairly good, basic overview of who she is. I don't for one second think he laughed and cried while reading Girl Wash Your Face. Like he said, it's not really written for him. So I can't imagine him actually doing that. I hate when they say that. I read all your books and I loved them. It's like, you did not. Give me a break.
I think the last time I saw her speaking on stage was in front of like tens of thousands of people jumping around, going crazy. And I'm just grateful she was willing to come here to our awesome group, but obviously a much smaller group of people, and to share a bunch of cool things with you guys today. So with that said, though, Rachel likes energy, and she wants a lot of energy. And so, but I want you guys cheering, jumping up and going, make as much noise as possible. That way, she'll be able to come up and have the energy she needs to be able to deliver and share with you guys all the things she's going to share with you guys today. Does that sound good? Okay, with that said, then, let's put our hands together.
It's like she needs the energy to deliver to you guys. It's like, is the $50,000 entry fee just not enough for you? You have to scream and yell and cheer for her, or else she won't be able to do it. Okay, thank you, Albanese. Albanese, is that correct? Yeah, you are. You are officially in Kia's World funnel now. You're at the top, and slowly you're going to submerge into the murky waters that is the Kia's World universe. Very similar to the Hollis universe, but tangentially, quantum physically, and manifestively on the other side. On the, as Dave said, two sides of the same coin. We're in the same universe, just delivering it differently. But thank you very much. And for that, we'll play a song.
Why do you follow me if you don't already own my book?
So why do you follow me if you don't own my book? The book I haven't written yet, but will one day, maybe never write one. But you can own it if I ever do write a book. And if you don't, unfollow me. Okay. Thank you. All right. Now we're going to go to her... What Happened to Dinosaurs intro.
For Rachel Hollis!
And therapy work.
No luck. No luck, Laura.
I spent several weeks getting ready to come and talk to y'all. And my intention today was, number one, I wanted to show up for my friend Russell, because however he is with you, He is that times 1,000 for the people that are lucky enough to be in his inner circle. So I can't tell you the amount of times that I have left a voice note.
I think she messed up there. I don't know for sure. I think the event, like you said, is called Inner Circle. And then she's like, oh, well, he's amazing for you, which that event is called Inner Circle. But she's like, he's even better for people in his real inner circle, which I think is like her, like people he's actually friendly with. I think that was a stupid thing to say. And maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but I was like, wait, what? Why would you say that? It makes it seem like the 50 grand is not worth it because this is not the real inner circle. There's a real inner circle. Of course there really is, but don't say that on the stage.
That I have sent a text and I'm like, brother, I do not know what to do. What about this idea? How can I show up? He and Colette are so incredible. So that's why I'm here. I wanted to just pay it forward for the love that they've given me over the last few years.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, I feel really called to have the conversation that I'm going to have with you guys today. And when I was on the plane, I was praying before I was putting my notes together, and I was like, I don't know if everyone in the room is going to get this.
I don't know if Russell is very religious. I haven't really looked into him at all, other than I know he works with a lot of like Tony Robbins type people and conference people. But she talks about praying and God much, much more than she has in the last 2 years. She's really back on the I prayed, I asked God. She's kind of less so into the spiritual realm, at least in this talk. And I wonder if that's because of Russell's presence. I don't know for sure, though.
But I know I'm supposed to say it. So even if it's for one person today, I feel called to have a conversation. So
I also hate that. Like, I really want to like share my secrets of how to be a millionaire, but God told me I have to tell you, are you happy though? So unfortunately, I have to give that speech today. So I guess we'll just have to go with what God said. It's like, oh, that's convenient. That's my 2 cents. Natasha is back, everybody. Thank you again. Here, I'm like running out of sounds. So here's a Dave sound.
Get a life.
It's very low though. Here, I'm going to play a little bit of the intro song for you. For this, you get this special Kia's World song. Okay, that deserved a special shout out. Thank you very much. Once again, you're making me blush. You're making me blush.
That is cheating.
Thank you. You're gonna be the most famous person in this chat right now. Thank you. Okay, back to Rach saying that it's not her fault if you don't like this, and it's only for one person because a lot of people aren't gonna get it because they don't get her.
Ask if you will show up in this space with me authentically. I'm gonna ask if you will be real as we talk about some harder stuff. Because I have been an entrepreneur for 19 years, and I've gone to 1,000 conferences and 1 million masterminds, and I've sat in rooms just like this one. And what happens often is that we show up as the very best version of ourselves, right? We're like, this is the revenue I did, and this is what's happening with the funnel, and here's how I'm growing, and here's how I'm showing up, and here's my cute Instagram photo. Who knows what I'm talking about? Just her? Who knows what I'm talking about? Right. And the crazy thing is, when we're in these rooms, we are surrounded by the access and the resources and the information that can help us most. But because we try and show up as the very best version of ourselves instead of...
She has said the word show up like 4 times so far, or the phrase show up.
Our authentic, true life, we don't get the help that we need. So I went to a conference 15 years ago. I had an event planning company in Los Angeles. That was my first business. And I went to a business conference, and I went to a class called, But Are You Making Any Money? Which I thought was fantastic, right? So it was all about the press that you could get, which celebrity wedding you were planning, and how you were showing up. And this woman just kept saying over and over and over, yeah, that's amazing, but are you making any money? And it was the first time in my life as an entrepreneur that I really understood what profit was. that I really understood the difference between gross and net, and I became obsessed. But I grew up very poor, and I grew up in an environment that was not safe for me. And even as a little girl, does anyone understand what I'm talking about when I say that? Yeah.
Okay, so you can see, like, she does this a lot, and this is definitely a Tony Robbins thing. Sorry. This is a Tony Robbins thing. It's an NLP thing, I believe. I never learned NLP. Somebody wrote to me once and said that they were like an expert. I need to reach back out to them. But NLP is like it can be used in therapeutic sense, I think, sometimes, but it can also be used to manipulate you. It's like suggestive speaking, like you are led to do something when you're not. It's not like subconscious, but it's almost like leading questions, or if you get people to agree enough, like if you can get them to say yes enough to these questions, they might be more compelled to say yes to a sale, like stuff like that, I think. And I could be totally wrong, but that's my impression of it. So throughout this speech, she'll use this and she'll say, like, does anyone know what I'm talking about here? Say yes, like, and that's very Tony Robbins of her. You know, to ask questions, to engage the audience the whole time. But she's not really asking anything that she actually thinks she doesn't care what your response is. And mostly she's going to ask things that, like, did you breathe today? Can you tell me yes if you breathed today? Okay, great. Did you have a sip of water today? Do you have any? Okay, great. And you're going to say yes no matter what. So it's like leading you down to thinking that this was a positive experience. Maybe I'm looking a little bit too much into it, but she does it a lot, and it's not authentic. It's a very much, okay, pre-planned. I'm going to ask these questions like in advance so that I can continue to get people to pay attention. So, okay, here we go. And also, like, you need to make profit in your business. It's great to not worry about that, but that is very important in a business, and people should be worrying about that very much because it's going to be their livelihood or not.
And even as a little girl, I knew that if I just had the security of money, that I wouldn't have to live in this house anymore. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Right. So
see, does anyone know what I'm talking about? Right. Okay. Then I forgot what she was saying. She was talking about her family, how she's unsafe. I haven't heard that necessarily, that version of events from her that I remember, that it was unsafe. That's kind of a escalation of, you know, before she's like didn't want to be poor because it was embarrassing, and now it's unsafe. And maybe she's come to that conclusion over time, but it seems a little bit more serious now than I've heard her talk about in the past. Kind of interesting.
Someone say once, if you've ever been hungry, then you'll never be full. If you've ever been hungry, then you'll never be full. Meaning, if you've ever known what it's like to hear your parents fight over how you're going to pay rent this month, if you ever have gone into the kitchen and there's no food, if you've ever lived in that kind of scarcity, it's a really hard mindset to get out of. So I spent about 10 years inside of hustle culture, right? Like
she spent 10 years inside of hustle culture, okay? As if she wasn't like leading the whole the whole movement. Not single-handedly, but she definitely was a figurehead of the hustle culture. She didn't live inside of it. She lived on top of it because she controlled it, a lot of it.
Every single dollar. I learned to stack dimes. Has anyone ever heard this term before, right? It's the hottest thing, like, oh, have multiple sources of revenue and see how you can build up your bank account. If you just stack one dime on top of another in a bunch of different areas, then you're going to have the money that you need to be wealthy. And so it took a really long time, but I figured it out. And after, 13 years of trying, I finally experienced crazy, wild, insane success. It's the most miserable I've ever been. No joke.
Maybe that's true. I have my doubts. I think that was the most happy she's probably ever been. That's my personal opinion, just based on her body of work. It doesn't make sense that she's the biggest achiever in the world. She's like the most what does she say? I think she says it in this speech. She's like, I am the most ambitious person in the world. I am the, whatever in the world. She's always like the only one, and she really was thriving during Rise conferences. And that was when there was like so much pressure and all that stuff. She seemed happier than she does now, in my opinion. But who knows behind closed doors. But I think that, at the peak of her success, she was probably the happiest, and now it's been the downfall. Dealing with the downfall and trying to recover has been probably horrible for her. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
And the thing was, I was surrounded by entrepreneurs who were like,
and so I see people talking about the breath sound. I think, this is my guess, I don't know, she could be nervous, I don't know, but for me, what it sounds like is a sound filter, where they put like, so when you're editing video or audio, you can put these like general filters on things just to, if it's a lot of buzz noise in the room. So for example, if her microphone was like too far away from her mouth, they might have put this filter on, and it makes it sound like all the sounds get like all of like the buzzing goes down, and it makes it sound more like one level. So sometimes that's what it sounds like to me, but she could be nervous too. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to make any assumptions like, too much, but I think it's more the technical stuff than it is, because it sounded like when he was talking too, it sounded the same to me, and it's not regular speed, so there should be no issues with like that.
Holy crap, this is amazing, you were making all the money, you're killing it, the Instagram's exploding,
Wait, let's go back for a second.
No joke. And the thing was, I was surrounded by entrepreneurs who were like, holy crap, this is amazing, you were making all the money, you're killing it, the Instagram's exploding, all of the people are everything, it's so exciting. And it was the most miserable I have ever been. I never saw my kids. I never saw my husband. I worked constantly. When I was stressed, when I was overwhelmed, when I burned out, I had more caffeine. I went harder. I got less sleep, because what mattered to me was success according to other people instead of what success was in my own heart.
Now, this sounds wonderful, like that she's come to this conclusion, like, oh, okay, like my true happiness is like being with my kids, my husband, which I find surprising because of his double life issues. So the fact that she wants to spend time with him kind of is confusing, but okay. But why would you for years write in your journal, in your Start Today journal that she would promote and sell? It was always like, I want to ride first class, which is fine, but how do you think you're going to do that? You're not going to have to fly and do stuff like you obviously knew that was a trade-off, not seeing your children. And she also made it seem like she didn't want to see her children that much. Like, she said that she wants to be their mother and be there, but she also wanted to have this life outside of them, which is fine. But now this is totally, the script is changed. If her goals every time for 10 years were like, I just want to have time with my kids, I just want to whatever, I just want to cook dinner every night, like those were achievable goals back then. She wanted more. She wanted to have 10,000 people at conferences. She wanted to meet Oprah. These are all giant goals, which I'm glad that she has them. No shame with having big goals. But don't come back 2 years later when it doesn't work out and go, I was miserable and my goals were just to be happy and be, no bra. It's like, don't bullshit. Don't bullshit a bullshitter, You ain't working on me. Like, I don't buy it.
And so that is what I want to talk about today, because I think it is possible for you to be wildly successful. And if your goal in life is to have all the money and you want to roll around in the dollar bills naked, like you do you live that life. But I never had anybody talk to me about having wealth in your life, but also having a life that felt good, but also having incredible relationships with your kids, but also having your faith be aligned in the right spot. I never had anyone say it.
Like, why is that included? This event must be religiously based, because she hasn't talked about having your faith be aligned in quite a while. And she hasn't said she's prayed while putting her papers together. So she must be trying to appeal to the people who are here, which I find, not shocking whatsoever.
So even if only one person needs to hear it today, you're for me and I'm for you. I'm not going to teach, but are you making money? Because you wouldn't be in this room if you weren't. I'm going to teach, but are you freaking happy? Are you happy?
Are you freaking happy? Okay.
Do not buy into the scarcity mindset that tells you that you can have one or the other. Okay? Okay?
Wait, what?
All the men in this room are like,
okay. Validate me now.
But are you freaking happy?
Okay, so she says you can't have one without the other.
Are you happy?
But then she just gave a whole thing about how she couldn't have wild success and have her husband and have her kids. So what the hell is she talking about?
Because do not buy into the scarcity mindset that tells you that you can have one or the other. Okay? Okay? All the men in this room are like, oh my Lord, what? She has a uterus. She's going to make us talk about feelings. It's scary.
So women are just wanting to hear this bullshit, but men have to brace themselves. I don't want to hear this either. I have a uterus. She for someone who people were praising pretty well for saying talking about her period and not putting it on women and saying like, oh, if you're a bleeder, which is a gender neutral term, which I found a little bit weird. I'm sorry. I might, I know I'm kind of on the less liberal side about that stuff. I think women have periods. Non-binary people can have periods, but I think saying women don't have periods is kind of weird. But I know. I'm sorry. Don't hate me, please. But now she's going to talk about penises. She's going to talk about I have a uterus. Men don't want to talk about feelings. It's a lot of gender stereotypes that she's about to throw out here for such a wise and liberal mind. I'm not surprised, but if you were to hear these speeches back to back, you might be surprised.
It'll be okay. I promise. What's your name? Nate. It'll be okay, Nate. It'll be okay. Okay, so it's 2019. I am on the road literally every week to do a keynote, one, sometimes two. And that comes from a lifetime of wishing and hoping and praying that someday somebody would pay me money to stand on a stage and talk. And one person wanted me to do it, and then another person wanted me to do it, and they'll fly you private, Rachel. And I would be like, I'm so tired, you guys. I haven't been home, and I really just. And they'd be like, oh, but then, and you know what? Tony Robbins, and then Oprah, and all of these opportunities keep showing up, and you don't know how to say no, right? Does anyone? You feel like there's opportunity over here, and then but I could also. Does anyone feel like that? You're like, there's so many, and you have employees, right? And people are counting on you. People are counting on you. Back in the old...
She just really is good at getting rid of... And here, for a second, just to see what I have to deal with. This cute cat. I can't just sit here and kiss her. I have to talk about Rachel Hollis for 20 more minutes, kitty. Hi, this is Taro. If you haven't seen who Taro is, this is Taro. She's a beautiful kitty. Okay. She really... Rachel really... takes away all responsibility. All responsibility goes away. She didn't want to fly private. Rachel doesn't care about flying private. That was all the other people in her life telling her to want those things. Yet, she writes in her own book that when she was like 8 years old, she had a wish on her birthday that she was going to be rich so that she didn't have to live in this poor, family of hers she had. So that sounds like on track. That sounds like the same type of thinking throughout her life. All of a sudden now she's like, everyone else wanted me to be this way. So I listened because I was a little girl and I didn't know and I had a husband that wasn't good to me, blah, blah, blah. Which may be true. All those things might be true. But also, as she would say, it's not like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, I guess. It's like she just doesn't want to admit that she had those beliefs where she wanted to be at the top of her game. She did. She wanted to have the mansion. She wanted to have the nanny. She wanted to have the husband. She wanted to have the company. She wanted to have the big office, the employees, all of that. No one forced her to do any of that. It's all a choice. And she's acting like, oh, I just took the advice of all these mean old people that just wanted to lead me astray. It's like, take some responsibility, learn from your mistakes, get over it and move on. But like, here we are still just like trying to like pretend the past is different. I hate it. It's not good.
It was like you, right? Or it was you and maybe your partner, or it was you and you were supporting your family. But all of a sudden, the bigger it gets, the more responsibility grows. And if I could just do one more thing, if I could just show up just real quick, I'm going to knock this out, because then someday Someday I'm going to rest, right? Someday, you know what? Someday when we get through this launch, right? As soon as we get through this launch, or as soon as we get through the summer, or as soon as, you know what? When the kids go back to school, that's when I'm finally going to rest. But someday is a myth. Someday isn't coming. This is what you've got, this day, this moment. And then I went to a mastermind, the same one where I met Russell. It's the middle of 2019, and we go to Puerto Rico, I think, and we're sitting around a table, and it was amazing.
I like how she doesn't remember where the mastermind was. It was like in Puerto Rico, I think. I'm just so famous and popular, and I've traveled so much, I don't even remember. She said that the other day. She's like, I was in an airport, and I saw this man, and I remember his shirt was maroon, and da-da. I don't remember what airport I was in because I traveled so much. It's like, okay, thanks, Rach.
And I can't even believe who I'm sitting at this table with. And everyone had this opportunity to ask a question and to say one piece of advice, like what was the best thing that you had learned in the last year. And the kind of information at this table, oh, insane. And I'm taking 1,000 notes and I'm like, oh, I'm about to level up on my level up. I'm about, let's go, right? And it gets around to David Bach. Does anyone know who David Bach is?
No.
So David Bach, after listening to all of us, all of our egos, giving our best advice, trying to impress everybody at the table, David says something that changes the course of my life forever. He said, you know what, you guys, I don't have advice. I have a question for you. And he asked a question to the table, which is the same one that I'm going to ask you now. If you only had 3 years left to live, are you proud of the way you're living your life? And I tell you that I left that table and I went back to my hotel room and I cried for the whole night.
I don't believe it.
So I was like, I hate my life.
I don't believe it.
This is everything I work for.
I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe she's telling the truth. I'm not in her brain. I just don't buy this at all. I don't buy it. She was on top of the world. There was not an indication at all that she was unhappy at this point. The only time that she was unhappy is when COVID happened and she had to be stuck in the house with Dave, and then she got divorced. And then all of a sudden the pieces of the house started to fall. The house of cards. Other than that, before that, totally she was a great actress then, because she made it seem like she was. But it's also in line with all of her goals, and all her whole brand is built on the success that she had and she was doing. So what does she actually want? It doesn't make sense. What does she actually want? What is she doing all of this for then, if she really didn't want anything? I don't know. I just don't buy it.
Everything I hate it. And look, I hate those memes or those things that are like, money isn't everything. Try not having any. Money is something. Money does make life easier. Money does allow you to provide for your family. Money does change the course of your life, your community, your impact in the world. It does. But pursuing that kind of success while your world is crumbling down and thinking if you just get to a certain number, then everything will work itself out is a lie.
I think most people I think know that. There's limits. You have to make sacrifices. If you want to make $1 zillion trillion, you can't see your kid as much. Especially when your job is to go speak on doTERRA and Beachbody stages, which are in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Las Vegas. I think everyone that's paying $50,000 and has $1 million of revenue that apparently was at this event would know that. This is not new information, and it's I don't know. It's just what are you wasting my time with obvious stuff? Did you know you have to look both ways before crossing the street? I didn't know. I was just running across highways. No one told me that I had to look both ways to make sure traffic wasn't going to hit me. But once I discovered that, I am here to tell you, you must look both ways. It's okay, thank you very much. This is very impassioned, and I agree with your message. But I already knew that, and I think most people know that.
Midst of that chaos, in the midst of 2019, when I was going so hard and I was so burnt out, I was talking to a really big entrepreneur in the self-help space. And I was asking his advice, and he said, you know what's going to happen, Rach? You're going to get...
She's told this story now 15 times. This is about putting your foot off the gas, you know, like, don't put your foot off the gas. Like, that's what she told it at Rise. She said it in like other interviews. She told it at the Skinny Confidential cancellation interview. This is like the most repeated story she has now. I've heard it so many times.
The point that you are so overwhelmed and you are so burnt out, and your instinct is going to be to take your foot off the gas. And whatever you do, don't take your foot off the gas. And I listened because I didn't know any better. You running yourself completely ragged is not the answer. Your Instagram can be beautiful, your YouTube following can keep growing, and the bank account can keep getting bigger. But if you have to get drunk every night to be able to handle the stress, or if you keep popping pills, or if you keep using, or if you keep looking at porn, or whatever you're doing to numb out so you don't have to think about the fact that you don't actually like your life, there is not enough money in the world. There is a better...
So, like, is that you, though, Rachel? Or is that Dave? Or is that no one? Or is that the hypothetical audience's problems? Like, you're telling it this story from your point of view as an expert who has lived this life. So, okay, let's give a little bit of honesty. She said everyone show up and be real and be honest. But then she glosses over like, okay, so what were you doing to numb out? What were you doing? No, she doesn't say that at all. All she says was everyone else told me to do this and I didn't want to, but I did it because I was silly and I didn't listen to my gut. My team told me to do that. Everything else, everything comes from outside. The team told her to do this. The other entrepreneurs told her to do stuff. She has no autonomy, apparently. I don't, this is like not boss babe material. You can't sell with us. You can't sell our shampoo, Rachel. You cannot be at the top of the upline because this is just not good mentality.
Way to live. And if you went through 2 years of a global pandemic and you didn't come out the other side asking better questions about how you want to live in this world and what kind of impact you want to have, you're doing it wrong. So that's the first question I'm going to ask you today, and you can put it...
You know what she said? That line specifically, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong, okay? Now that's her line. And her toilet gate, her infamous toilet gate, at the end of it, at the final conclusion of that, you know, monstrosity of a TikTok, she said, if my life is relatable to most people, I'm doing it wrong. That's what she said. That's what she said. If I'm relatable to most people, I'm doing it wrong. Now she's saying, if you don't like, you know, if you're just chasing the almighty dollar, you're doing it wrong. It's like, so it's the same thing. This is just her giving advice, judging other people for what they want to do with their life and putting a bow on it and selling it at a different stage. The wording is the same. It's very nauseating because I know people are going to listen to this that aren't involved in this, like, you know, aren't watching the stream, don't care to look at all the information, all of like the scandals and stuff. And they're going to, wow, this was really inspirational. It really changed my life. This meant a lot to me. And it's going to be like, okay, it's frustrating because you could just say the dumbest shit and people that don't know you will be like, oh my God. And then the cycle continues. You become a fan, and you like it, you buy the stuff, and then you find out, oh, it's all fake. And then the next group comes in. It's like MLMs. It's like you have to keep having a revolving door all the time because you can't retain people. But it doesn't matter because there's 7 billion people on the earth, so, you know, we'll never run out of people. Anyways, okay. Back.
And I hope that you will journal about it later or talk to each other. But if you, for real, I have a very dear friend, and she has cancer. Oh, and she's doing chemo right now.
I hate this. Again, also, I know I'm like, Carol, do you want to get off or no? Okay. Mommy doesn't give you vitamins because you're a kitty, not an adult. Not an adult, not a child. Okay, here's Tarot. This is the Tarot show now. You're blending in too much, Tarot. Come on. You want to get down? Okay. Let's just go back. Oh, yeah, the cancer thing. Sorry, the cancer thing. I hate this. I don't really know if she has a friend who has cancer, but she's told the story now twice. She told it on it's her own podcast about mortality and how, like, her friend has cancer and just wants to live a couple more months and that made Rachel think about her own mortality and all that. It's like, stop using everyone in your life as examples to sell against, like book chapters to sell in your stupid self-help books. Like, it's really gross to me, especially cancer and especially disease like that. It's just like, let those people have their illness and not take it and sell it to sell your books as inspiration. Like, it really grosses me out. I just hate it so much. And she's used it twice now.
To buy herself a 30% chance of living for a couple more years. I want to say that one more time. She is going through chemo to hopefully buy herself a 30% chance of a couple more years. If you only have 3 years left, are you proud of the way you are living your life? That's where we're starting. Buckle up.
I don't get it. I don't know why the chemo friend had to be brought up, but I guess it's just to sow sympathy that Rachel has to have a friend who's going through chemo because, she hasn't gone through something like that. So she just takes well, I have a close friend who's going through that and she's, trying to buy time. And that means that you should run your ClickFunnels better. It's like, I don't see the correlation. I don't. It's sickening to me.
Here's something tactical. Do you actually know what makes you happy? Do you actually know things in life that you can access right now in this moment that make you happy? Because has anyone ever experienced...
This is a great point, Emery. She also, I don't remember exactly which podcast it was, but Rachel at one point also says, but what if you loved chemo? What if you could love your chemo? Wouldn't it be better? Yeah, go through chemo, Rachel, and then fucking say you love it, okay? I have no experience of it, but I cannot imagine someone who's gone through chemo, hearing that bullshit and be like, oh, you're right. I just didn't, believe I loved it enough. Shut up. That's so insensitive. Until you experience it yourself, just leave people who have cancer alone, please.
To a huge milestone or huge launch, or you got the number of people, or you got the amount of money, and it was euphoric. Holy crap, we did this thing and it was so amazing. And then 48 hours later, you were like, huh, is that right? Raise your hand if you've ever felt that, right? It's so normal that you get there and you're like, is that it? And so then we trick ourselves and we're like, we got to have a bigger number. That's what's the next launch? What's the next thing? And y'all, you are never going to meet someone more ambitious than me. I am here for it.
Wendy Bird from Ozarks is more ambitious than Rachel Hollis would ever be. The fictional character, Wendy Bird, is more ambitious than Rachel Hollis will ever be. She's delusional. I'm sorry. There's people way more ambitious than you, Rachel. I'm sorry to say. There are.
Freaking love chasing the next thing. But if you can't find contentment in this moment, in this life, on this Wednesday, is it Wednesday? Whatever day it is. Oh
my God, her and Heidi, who stole it from who? I never know. I'm assuming Heidi steals from Rachel, but maybe Rachel steals from Heidi too. However, show up. I showed this in another live stream. Show up seems to be Rachel's thing too, first. She has merch, show up merch. So maybe Heidi just co-opted all of her words.
Find it now. There's no amount of money or success or followers who are going to make you feel the thing you want to feel. So this is really cheesy, but do you have a joy list?
No.
Good. Bro, okay, let's do it. Do you have a joy list? So on my phone right now, I have a list of things that make me really happy. 15 things. International travel. Really long dinners with my favorite people. You know, the kind where they just keep bringing wine.
Again, okay, this is also, it's my joy list, whatever. I think people know what makes them happy for the most part. I think we all know, it's not going to be grinding it out at work. It's not going to be, picking up the dog poop on the walk. It's not going to be those things, but those are part of life, and we just have to get used to them. Having a joy list, I don't need to write down that I enjoy spending time with my kitty, Taro, and petting her little belly. I already know that intuitively. I'm an intuitive, and I know that. I love that. So, and this is also just a way for her to humbly brag about all the amazing friends she has and the amazing dinners that they have and all the amazing bottles of wine that they have and that she gets to fly international. And it's like, this is all just to boost her own ego. And people, the problem is the audience seems to be very engaged with it. It's like, we should reject these people. As a society, we need to reject those people. Okay.
And you're like, I can't have any more. Well, I'll have a little bit of that, right? Those kind of dinners. Being on the beach, laughing with my children, like laughing so hard I pee my pants because I push them out of my body.
Pee my pants. We have a pee my pants moment. Mark it off on your bingo cards. I saw someone said about bingo. Yeah, we have pee your pants. Made the speech.
I don't have the control that I used to, right? Like things that make you so happy. Getting a massage. Right? For you, I don't know what your thing is. Who knows something that like genuinely, it doesn't cost a lot of money, makes you so happy? Yeah.
With my business partners where it's like just about stupid things that no one else would find funny, but it's an in-joke.
Right. So here's the thing about that. Just a really simple hack. If you know the thing that brings you joy, you could literally set up your entire business around that. You could say that every single time we're in the office, if you're in an office.
Oh yeah, buckle up, guys. I say buckle up too, so I can't fault her for that. I also say hold space, which I saw was a pet peeve of some people. I also use that one, and I'm sorry. So she's about to make a statement here that I thought was so stupid. She's like, okay, just do all the things that bring you joy. So having like, you know, international travel, just like make that your job. Like, oh yeah, it's so easy just to do that. Like, yeah, whatever. It's just so simple for her, you know, just so simple. You guys just need to like do the things I'm saying to do.
Every single time we get together, you have to bring a joke to the table.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna go back because I cut it off in the middle.
Here's the thing about that, just a really simple hack. If you know the thing that brings you joy, you could literally set up your entire business around that. You could say that every single time we're in the office, if you're in an office together, every single time we get together, you have to bring a joke to the table that makes us pee our pants laughing or you're fired. Not really. But you could create a culture.
Wasn't that insane? I feel like that's something that she thought and like she said it and wasn't going to say just kidding. But like the audience reaction was like, okay, what? Oh. And then she's like, just kidding. But seriously, guys, like you need to force your employees to bring jokes. And if they're not funny, fire them. Like, oh my God. I thought that was interesting. Like, yeah, that's a great plan to make your life more joyful. Force your employees to make you laugh at their expense, or at least they have to prepare a joke. I've had bosses like this, like even where it's like, okay, tell me something that you learned today. It's like, please let me go home. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. It's for your ego. What am I going to say? Oh, I hate working here. I hate it every minute. No, I'm going to lie because I don't want to lose my job. It's like, it's all that stuff is so pointless in my opinion. Okay, back to Rachel.
Around that idea. How much does it change the context of a meeting? How much does it change the interaction if the first thing we do before we do anything else is make each other laugh? Everything changes. So like if my thing is that I want to laugh with my kids, okay, well, we could put on 4 very specific movies that we have watched 10,000 times where we will all laugh. And that seems so stupid and so simple, but we're losing time. We're losing it, right? Like, do you ever have those things where it's April? It's the middle of April right now in 2022.
It seems very fear-focused, like we're losing time. We need to force our employees to tell us jokes now or else we'll never have the chance. It's like, whoa. This seems like unnecessary fear.
Who remembers when it was just February or it was New Year's and you were setting goals for the year? It's going so fast. And everyone talks about this idea of being centered or being focused. But if you don't have the intentionality of asking yourself better questions, then you're never going to find the opportunity. Here's another really simple hack. In my calendar, I use Google Calendar. Anyone? Is that lame? Are you guys like, you built your own?
Yeah, super lame. Google's out. It's so funny. I brought this up before too. on Heather the Lawyer's channel. I was in her chat yesterday, 2 days ago, Friday, and she played a different episode of something Rachel did, and you should follow her. God, what was I going to say? Oh, we were talking about the calendars. She talked about Google Calendar in that podcast too. It's like, don't you sell planners? Isn't that your whole thing? Wouldn't you promote your own planner? But secretly you're like, this planner is the best. It's only for high achievers. This planner is amazing. But I actually use Google Calendar because I'm a nerd. I'm a computer nerd. Like, okay.
Software, and you use a calendar that you made yourself or whatever. You're fancy, but I use a Google Calendar.
Oh yeah, sorry. This was recorded recorded in April of 2022. This is nothing old. This is new.
Color code everything, right? All of my calendar is color coded for one reason. If it is something that is life-giving, if it is something that makes me feel good, that brings me joy, it's yellow. And if I look at my calendar for a week and there's no yellow, I'm living life wrong. It's so simple. And get intentional about bringing things into your life that...
There was a weird edit there. That wasn't me. But again, with the language from Toiletgate, I feel like she's purposely taking the words and changing it to this new narrative to almost, I don't know, show maybe, or maybe she just only has a certain amount of words and that's why. But she's using the exact verbiage from Toiletgate to now say, oh no, I'm an anti-hustle queen. It's crazy. It's just weak. Okay, let's go back again.
Feel good, that brings me joy, it's yellow. And if I look at my calendar for a week and there's no yellow, I'm living life wrong.
I'm living life wrong. She said, I'm doing it wrong in the Toiletgate, which was if my life is relatable to most people, I'm doing it wrong. Now she's saying, if I don't have life-giving yellow events in my Google Calendar, I'm doing it wrong. Or whatever she said. It's such a 180 with no acknowledgement of how different she is now.
It's so simple. And get intentional about bringing things into your life that make you feel good. The second question I want to ask you, and this is one from my buddy Tom. Tom Billieu is also sitting at that table with us.
Tom Billieu, shout out.
And he asks, do you like yourself when you're by yourself? Do you?
That's Dave's line, I thought. Dave says that constantly. Do you like yourself when you're by yourself? Apparently you didn't, Rachel. Apparently you didn't for a whole year, 2019, because you were lying to everyone, saying how amazing your life was. In reality, you hated it, allegedly. So I don't think you liked yourself during that time, I would imagine.
Like yourself when you're by yourself. And a lot of people don't know the answer to this question because when they're by themselves, they don't allow themselves to think. They watch TV, they listen to a podcast.
She doesn't say what she does. Luis V, yes, she still wakes up at 4 a.m. She woke up at 3:30 the other day and posted about it, so she still gets up. It's her time, her only time of the day. Yes, she does.
Read a book. They do things that are improving, but very rarely do they sit and just think and be alone with their thoughts. Are you all regularly alone and just thinking about things? Anybody? Great. Does anyone in this room have a meditation practice? Awesome. So if you don't do this regularly, I know that it can feel daunting to start, but it is one of the most powerful tools that I know of to help with anxiety. It is one of the most powerful tools I know of to help with focus.
The most powerful tool to deal with anxiety is Zoloft, Wellbutrin, Prozac, and probably a plethora of others. TBH.
When life is sort of spinning off and chaos is crazy and the business feels totally wild and overwhelming, a daily meditation practice is one of the best things that you can do to help you control your thoughts. So there's a million things that you can listen to or watch or YouTube or Calm or whatever, but find something that works for you. I had a really hard time when I first started to just sit and breathe. Y'all know those people who are like, I just sit and breathe and I just lose time and I commune with the earth and I close my eyes and my brain is like, do we have chicken for dinner? I need to lay out? Oh, wait. And then it's wacky t-shirt day next Wednesday. Don't forget. Oh, focusing. We're meditating and we're zen and we're calm. Calm, the app. How's my app? Should I grow that list? Anyone else? Your brain does that? Okay, great. So.
Anyone else? Okay, great. Anyone else? I don't care. Now, this is a very different version of Rachel. And like I said, this is from this month. She's now, I think, abandoning maybe the manifestation, like woo-woo stuff to try again to be the anti-hustle, former hustle babe, to make this her new image, because she very much was in the line of, oh, my spirit guides, my guardian angels, I sit down and I Palo Santo my house and I do my yoga practice. And now here she's like, I'm not that type of girl that just sits down and can just like sit down and, listen to my thoughts. I'm like, it's Wacky Wednesday on my kid's school. Obviously that's not her voice. I felt called to use the voice of a country person, middle of the country, cowboy, to portray Rachel Hollis in that moment. So don't blame me, blame God. Let's continue.
You can absolutely learn how to meditate and how to focus, but I would also just like to encourage you to find a way to meditate that works for you. I run. That's my meditation. I don't do very well at just sitting and thinking, but I think really well if I'm moving. So it doesn't matter how other people do things. It matters what works for you. And the reason that a meditation practice is really powerful is also because it gives you a moment to practice some gratitude. If you don't have a meditation practice, do you have a daily gratitude practice?
No. It's funny how she's like, running is my meditation because I can't stop. Aren't you meditating like every second of the day? She's like, oh, I meditate. I have a meditation. I meditate. And now all of a sudden, like, no, my meditation is running. Like, okay, so she's just giving this up again with no acknowledgement of like the last year. I've been completely obsessed with meditation. Here is my other theory. Okay, theory conspiracy time. Sorry that I was blocking my face the whole time too. I wonder if this trip, if her BF boo thing is like a thing of the past, because she recorded a Rach talk. She looked different. She sounded different. Her energy was different. She mentioned her boo thing in that, but I wonder if they broke up or if they're in the process of breaking up. I've been feeling that for a little bit, and just the fact that he has not mentioned her at all. And she's like putting him on her Instagram and stuff. It seems like she maybe was trying to push him to be more open about her. And this is all just speculation again. But I wonder if like now that she's no longer, maybe she's on the outs with him or something, that she's not going to go this yoga route anymore, because that was very much her boyfriend's thing. The meditation, the yoga, all that. Now maybe she's abandoning that and testing the waters for something else because she's not going to be dating him anymore. That's my thoughts.
Lord bless and keep us. Okay, 10 of us have a daily gratitude practice, and not one of the people who raised their hands had a penis. All right.
See? It's a very different version of bleeder Rachel. And like, oh, our hormones are different and we need to do this, and like we need to eat for our bodies and love and be graceful. Now she's like, you got a dick? You need a meditation practice, boys. It's like, this is more old school Rachel, and I'm shocked by it, to be quite honest.
Have a meditation.
Let's listen to this because I kind of cut it up.
Practice. Do you have a daily gratitude practice? Oh, Lord bless and keep us. Okay, 10 of us have a daily gratitude practice, and not one of the people who raised their hands had a penis. All right.
And this also seems, this is very, not very, but sort of anti-man. Like, oh, men have feelings or don't want to talk about their feelings. Oh, none of you have a meditation practice, which is kind of on brand if she was like going through a breakup. But that's, again, just my theory, no proof.
Here's the thing. You are creating this reality. You created this reality. How you feel while you sit in this room, the people around you, the business you have, the partner you're with, the children you do or do not have, you created your perception of the world that you're living inside of.
Inside of.
Straight up. And the question is, are you creating a world that's abundant and blessed and beautiful? Or are you creating one that's filled with scarcity and lack and not enough? Okay, don't BS me right now. Who is worried? Who feels like, oh, there are days where I don't know what's going to happen to the business? And are there more people out there? And do I have, this is not the crowd where people will honestly raise their hand. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for being human. Look at us being human, you guys. It's super normal. To not know where the next thing is coming from, or to start to fear or start to doubt. And here's the thing. There's a really powerful psychological trick. And if you haven't read the book, The Gap versus the Gain, holy crap, please put that on your list. It's so good. But essentially, the idea is that high achievers are constantly chasing the next thing because they think the next thing is going to fulfill them. But very rarely do they give themselves credit for what they have accomplished.
This is just not the most obvious thing. Like, I feel like we learn this, like, in every movie. Like, every Disney movie, it's like, oh, the villain just wants money, 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 but it doesn't make them happy at the end. It's like, I just don't find this, revealing or unique or interesting in any way.
Always looking future, right? And our ability to look to the future is what makes us excellent as entrepreneurs. But it also means that we never give ourselves credit for the past. So if you had to write, okay, you know what? Let's just do an exercise, all right? Grab a pen, grab your notebook, and we're gonna take 1 minute. We're gonna do 1 minute. I'm gonna time you. And as fast as you can, I mean, like your life depends on it. I want you to freeform, without thinking, without judgment, write down everything that you have accomplished in the last 6 months. Everything, life, personal, business, ready, set, go. How is it that you are writing down things you've accomplished in the last 6 months and every single thing about your energy and your body is defeated? Explain that to me. It's because it's a room full of high achievers who...
I'm assuming, unless I'm misreading this, that she's pointing to somebody or pointing to the audience at large and saying, you're looking defeated, yet I just told you to write down your things that you're proud of. I think that's the vibe I'm getting. It's hard to tell because I'm listening to audio, but that's kind of mean.
Never think it's enough. In the last 6 months, who did something badass? Yeah, what?
Finalized my divorce and got my home in my own name.
Hell yes! That's amazing, yes.
Dinner at home 6 nights a week.
I cook dinner at home 6 nights a week? Are you married? Are you thankful? Fantastic, 6 nights? I feel like 1 night could be leftovers. That's a lot. 1 night, oh my word. Okay, who's got one? Yes, ma'am. Yes, a weekly self-care day. That's incredible. Yeah, cheer for that. Someone with a penis. Who did something? Yes, sir.
Again, here we go. The chatbots are going to come back.
Oh.
Yeah, it's either one.
So I lost 50 pounds during tax season.
Holy crap! 50 pounds. What else? Right here.
Robbie and I caught 16 steelhead on the Rogue River.
That's amazing. Good work. I've never caught a single fish, so you're winning.
I helped my 6-year-old daughter learn addition and subtraction.
Yeah, good job. Shout out. What else? Yes, ma'am. Florida. We don't even need the square thing. You just yell.
Hello. I actually used what Robbie taught me in sales. And after he taught me, I made like 3 sales. So right
That's
after.
No, Robbie has one too. Yeah, girl. Oh. The universe wanted her to share a story.
I chemotherapy last week.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
And I'm a badass
freaking twin mom in the process, 3 kids, freaking
hell yeah,
crushing it.
Hell yeah, you are. Good job.
I wonder how that woman felt about Rachel's story. She kind of cuts her off a little bit to be like, okay, let's move on. I mean, that's how I'm reading it. Because probably she didn't want her to give many details or ask Rachel any questions because this person, her friend going through chemo, may not exist. So now she might be feeling like, I'm put on the spot. This woman asked me a question about, something related to chemo. I ain't going to know it because I don't have a friend that's going through this. Now maybe she feels bad. I don't know. Probably not.
This is a room filled with warriors. And if you look at your life, it is filled with blessings and it is filled with accomplishments. But if you don't ever take the time to acknowledge it, you will see lack. You will see things to be afraid of. You will see the fear of not enough customers. You will see the fear of what if this all runs out. You will not see abundance unless you look for it. Do you get that? Have you ever bought a new car? Have you ever bought a new car and you never noticed the car before and then suddenly everywhere you go, everyone's got a Tesla? And you're like, dang it, I thought I was the only one. It's because now you're wired to look for that thing. I'm not going to get into how the brain works, but you are wired to look.
Rachel, not to be mean, but you're not a neurologist. You didn't go to school past high school. There's no brain training in your history. You listen to Dr. Amen, who's an idiot. Come on. I'm not going to tell you how the brain works. Yeah, because you don't know how it works. Neither do I.
For that thing, because it means something.
Thank you, Stevie. Hey, everyone. I got a sandwich delivery. Tara made it for me. Just kidding. Just kidding. Steven made it for me. So I'm going to eat that while we listen. So, sorry in advance.
To you. When you are wired to look for blessings, it's what you will find. If you believe that God has your back, if you believe that the universe is looking out for you, if you believe that it's abundant, then that is what you will create. And if every single morning you start your day, take 5 minutes and just write down something in the last 24 hours that you were blessed by. In the last 24 hours, not like, oh, I'm so thankful I have a home, or I'm so thankful for my marriage, but in the last 24 hours, you know what? I was in line at Starbucks and the woman in front of me bought my coffee.
She's used that one before too. Oh, someone bought my coffee at Starbucks. That was going to be her manifestation thing. It's that's happened to me one time in my life. Am I supposed to just wait around for that to happen to be grateful for it? Such a weird example. She sometimes picks weird examples, like the one about the, make your coworkers or make your employees tell you funny jokes, or wait for the woman to buy you a drink at Starbucks. It's is that really what we're grateful for? Is that the best, example to use there?
Or in the last 24 hours, I got a sweet text from a friend, or in the last 24 hours, I got the information that I needed for the work project that I'm doing. Because if every single day you know that you're going to have to show up at a journal and write down 5 things, you will spend your day looking for those blessings. Does that track? Daily gratitude practice. How much time do you spend by yourself? How much time do you spend by yourself without numbing in some way? I know we're not supposed to talk about that. We're not supposed to talk about how much we drink to manage the stress of all of this. We're not.
Why? Who's saying that we can't talk about that? It's very widely talked about nowadays.
We're supposed to talk about the stuff that we do when no one else is looking so that we can.
And she also said she was an alcoholic to Oprah on Oprah's stage. It's you've been talking about this openly, but yet you also glorify alcohol all the time. So I'm confused.
Tomorrow and perform when everyone is. Do you like yourself when you're by yourself? Because I swear there is not enough success or money or power or access or friends that will buy you that kind of love. And when we are alone with our thoughts is when the stuff comes up. And we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to think about the mistakes that we've made. We don't want to think about our failures. We don't want to think about how we showed up or how we screamed at the kids or how we missed that sale or how we missed that opportunity. We don't want to think about that stuff. So we'll just work harder. We'll go faster because nobody can hit a moving target, right? But I swear, I promise, I know it is not what they are teaching. I know like bro entrepreneur culture isn't going to talk about this, but I promise you that if you are a healthier person, your business will be healthier. Your business.
Again, she's making a lot of assumptions about bro culture. You know, she's making it seem like men just are these emotionless beings that only care about money. And, you know, wherever this idea is coming from, maybe from being with Dave, maybe from her own, you know, perceived gender role thing. I don't know. But, like, she's putting a lot of kind of negative energy out in the universe towards the men during this whole podcast. And I don't know if it's really warranted in this case. I think it's a little bit like, you know, lumping people and their personalities into a category that they're not necessarily in. She's just making a lot of assumptions. Like, she has all these feelings too. She wants to make millions of dollars, or she had, I guess. But even now, like, she talks about making money like as if it's like a wonderful thing. So, which she says it is. So I'm just confused as to what, like, I don't know, what point she's trying to make here. We're almost done.
Your business, not hers or his or your sister's or your friend or Russell or mine. Your business is 100% dependent on you. And your psychological health, your physical health, your emotional health, your ability to deal with stress is directly giving you the results that you have right now. You are living the results of the decisions that you made 6 months ago, right now. What is happening in your life is the result of the decision you made 6 weeks ago, 6 months ago, 6 years ago. So take responsibility for what comes next.
In that example, do you think her friend who just started chemo and was given like 3 months to live or whatever she said, that she planned that's the result of her decisions? She didn't meditate enough. She didn't have her joy list. She didn't read it enough. That's why she got cancer. I guess technically 3 months ago, she probably already had cancer, just didn't know about it. So that's kind of rude, you know? And the woman in the audience who said she just got over chemo, yeah, she's over it, which I'm glad. But it's like, did she 6 months ago cause herself to have the cancer in the first place? Like, this is where these questions, like, it's not just a simple thing you can say that applies to all. You know, this phrase, apply to all, humankind. It's like so unnuanced that it becomes annoying. It's like, if you're getting paid $100,000, I don't know how much she got paid for this speech, but she at one point got like $100,000 to speak on stages. And this is the type of stuff you say. It's just like garbage. It makes me so mad.
It is possible. I swear with everything in me, it is possible for you to succeed and feel really good. But you're not going to find a lot of people who talk to you about that. How's your relationship with your kids, guys? How's your relationship with your parents? How's your relationship with your core?
Your relationship with your parents, and also my parents and I don't get along, so, you know, calling the kettle black, but Rachel does not get along with her parents at all. So why don't you go through your life itinerary and fix some relationships, Rach?
The people you love the most. The people you're doing this for, who I promise you don't want one more thing. This isn't for everyone, but someone in this room needs to hear that your kids don't want one more thing. They want time. They want you off your phone, not stressed out. They want your presence. Do you know a lot of entrepreneurs that are older who have no relationship with their adult children? It happens all the time. And then that entrepreneur, they feel bitter because they're like, I freaking did this for you. My parents didn't give me anything and I did this for you. And the kids are like, bro, I didn't want this. I wanted a dad. I wanted a mom. You know the version of this in your life, but it's not going to matter if it all ends tomorrow. See,
the thing that bothers me with that, because that was the one moment of the whole speech, and I was like, dang, you know, that was a good line. Like, the kids want a dad, they want a mom, but that is true. And the way she said it really made me feel like, yeah, that's true. Even though I have such opinions about Rachel, I still was able to feel like the weight of that sentence. However, 1 second later, I started to regret my feelings and think like, she didn't make any of these choices. She was forcibly, sidelined, basically. When the divorce happened, that was strike 1. Toiletgate was strike 2, and her coming back without like the correct apology, without the correct acknowledgement, was strike 3. She was basically dead in the public eye. Press didn't support her. Her supporters didn't support her. People liked Dave more at that point because he was being a little bit more transparent about the whole thing, it seemed, with the divorce and all that. And so she really, the only way she can even say any of this, that she's gotten control, she's able to take massages and whatever, is because she's been forcibly canceled. She tried to do Rise again after after Toiletgate, and it was a complete failure. She couldn't sell 100 tickets, it looked like. Like, I went to the virtual, and there was, like, a very, like, small percentage based on what Rise was in the past. Thousands of women, thousands of big arenas. This was, like a tiny, dinky stage with, like, little chairs set up. Like, folding chairs. That's how fast she fell. So none of this is her choice. And she's making it seem like, I found the secret because I was so successful and then I decided that it wasn't what real success is. No, you found out what real success was, got your ego so overblown that you made a mistake by making a TikTok, and got your ego so overblown that you thought like, people will just like me even if I get divorced, even after 2 months ago hosting a marriage conference, which is crazy. She just believed that she could, withstand anything at that point. And then she got knocked down, and now all of a sudden she's like, see, this is a lesson I learned, without acknowledging what actually happened. And that's the most annoying part, because it's like, this story is only heroic if you made the choice to step down off the top of the mountain. She's going to talk about mountaintops in a second. If she chose to descend herself because she had learned something in the process, not being pushed off the mountain and falling to the bottom and being like, well, I learned my lesson. It's not heroic. That's being foolish. That's my preaching for the night.
The scary thing is, you think you have time. You think that you've got 50 years, so it'll all work itself out. But every single person in this room knows somebody that went like that. That it was their time. And they never got the chance. And that they never told the people that they loved them, and they never went to Paris to have that dinner, and they never connected with their wife, and they never did those things. We all know that person. Why do you think you're going to escape it? Your tomorrow is not guaranteed. This is what you've got. Are you happy with the way you are living your life? Let me give you something tactical. Let me ask you a question about work. What's your 20%? You all know the Pareto Principle, 80-20. Everyone know this? Don't lie if you don't. Raise your hand if you're not sure. Thank you. 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. Every single time. 20% of your customers give you 80% of your money. 20% of your products give you 80% of your revenue. We all know this. So if you don't start every single year asking yourself how you can refine to that 20%, I'm just going to focus on the 20%. I'm going to focus on the 20%. If you do not understand that that is the way to exponential growth, because people come to these things and you get so much information. I don't know about y'all, but I would come to these and I would get so much information. I would get so pumped. I'd have to take like a Benadryl to sleep that night because I was all jacked. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to go take on the world. Then I'd get back to my office and everyone would be like, oh God, you went to a conference. And I would have 1,000 ideas. Who knows what I'm talking about? And then I'd try them all out. And then 6 months would go by and I would realize that the thing that I was doing 6 months ago was actually the thing that made us money. And I had just wasted time and energy and effort and confused my customer base, running off in a different direction. Because when I talk to people about this, it always comes back to, yeah, but if I don't keep giving this much effort, and if I don't keep pushing this hard, if I don't keep doing that, then I'm not going to be as successful. And that is a lie. You have to get smarter about what you work on. You have to focus in on what is actually working. Now, I'm not in your world. I don't know as much about funnels and all the cool stuff that you guys do. I made a funnel, and when I say I made a funnel, I came to Boise, and this crew made me a funnel once.
I showed the funnel already. That's how I got into her private Vimeo or whatever. Not her private, but the behind the scenes Vimeo account. It's okay. You know, it's a typical funnel. I don't know. I don't know anything about the 80-20%, whatever, but, you know, her and Dave were still working together, they did like a 2020 like launch forward vision meeting. It was filmed in 2019, I believe. So, you know, obviously you can't see all of what happened. But what she said was the two most important things that she was going to do for 2020. Quibbly. Okay, the Quibbly show, which obviously we know what happened to Quibbly. It did not go anywhere, and that show never saw the light of day. And number two, the Rise fitness app, which basically didn't even launch because her and Dave got divorced. Whatever happened, I don't know. The app is still there, but like, I don't think she's like, oh, this is $1 billion app. Well, I don't think it's making $1 billion. So that's what she decided was her most important things. So she picked wrong. So what did you do to fix that? Because you put your money down on two things that epically failed. She doesn't tell you that. She doesn't say, I made this mistake and I learned from it. Now I only focus on X, Y, Z. No, she's just going to tell you, focus on the 80% and the 20%, blah, blah, blah. Like, so general, because she can't give her real advice because she doesn't know anything.
That's like what I know, right? But I have heard something over and over and over again because I'm on the email list and I see it every time. You are just one funnel away. Right. It's working, Russell. It's working. The branding's working, brother. He doesn't say you're 100 funnels away. He doesn't say you're 22 funnels away from figuring out how to do it. He says you're one funnel away. And how I read that, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is that you create one thing and you refine it and you refine it and you refine it and you pull it apart and you go, okay, we got the first part working, and then with the upsell thing or the downsell thing, because I don't remember how this goes, and then the gift with purchase and the whoozy whatsy and the thing that comes, there's like 15 steps in a funnel or something. So how I would approach that is I'd start at the very beginning. How's step number 1? Okay, that's killing it. How's step number 2? You are one funnel away. 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. What would happen to your business if you got laser focused on 20%? You would make way more money with way less effort. And with that extra time, you'd go get a massage, or you'd go to dinner, or you'd drink a great glass of wine, or you'd take the vacation you always wanted to take, or you'd freaking take a nap. Oh my word, you just take a nap in the middle of the day because you can. It's whatever you want it to be. It is whatever you want it to be. It's your life, it's not mine. But I do know that you are working so hard. Are you living so hard? You know the old thing that's like, work hard, play hard? Work hard, play hard. Vegas, what happens here, whatever. There's this culture that we're going to work really hard.
I'm living hard, babe. I don't think she knows what that means, living hard. That doesn't mean like you're living great. Usually that phrase means like you're living in like a drug den or something. You're living hard. You're smoking cigs and you're driving fast. Like that to me is living hard. Not like work hard, play hard, work hard, live hard. But maybe I'm just from the wrong side of the tracks. That's how we used to say it. In my neighborhood, we would say, we're living hard over here. Just me? Let me know.
And then we're just sneak in a little bit of fun and then go back to working really hard, right? You do all this sort of working up to the vacation. You go and you do this thing and then you go back to working hard. My motto is work hard, live well. If I work hard, if I work smart, if I am strategic, I can live really, really well.
That's her motto. She's like 12 mottos and mantras now. I forget the other one. I can't even grab it from my brain. She said something like, my mantra is, and it was not that one. It was something else completely. She just makes up new mantras. Oh yeah, I know. It came in my brain. Create cool shit with cool people. That's her other mantra. Now it's work hard, live. No, what did she say? Whatever she said. I forgot it instantly because it was so stupid.
And sometimes entrepreneurs accidentally get themselves a job, right? They think they're starting a business, but they're so busy working in the business that they just have a job that's totally overwhelming. And when you're inside of it, it's so easy to think that that's all there is. And there is a way. I heard the gal, and I don't know where you are in the room, but I was backstage and I was listening to the gal talk about that.
Gal, wash your face. Gal, put on your eye cream, because you're a gal, not a girl no more. That's Rachel Hollis's next memoir.
You know, now she has all these people who are sort of putting her mission out in the world, and she's able to scale her business, and she doesn't have to be the one teaching. And there's a time when we're starting out where we don't understand that we're in control of this. And I know the voice in the back of your head, because that's been in the back of my head where it says, yeah, but, and also, and you don't know, but look, if the life you are living right now is the result of a decision you made 6 months ago, that means that sitting in this room right now, you could make a decision that changes everything. 6 months from now, you could be in an entirely different place, not just in terms of money and not just in terms of what your business is doing, but you could be in an entirely different place in your relationship. 6 months from now, you can be in an entirely different place in your faith, in your spirituality.
See, why is she talking about faith so much? She hasn't talked about this for so long. I swear, she's like, it's either the audience that she just knows that they're faith-based, or she's done a 180, well, I guess a 360 technically. Starts off Christian mommy blogger, spiritual, transcendent yoga chick, and now back to Christian mommy blogger, motivational speaker, MLM lover.
In your relationship with your daughter, in how you're showing up in the world. You could have trained for the marathon that you keep saying you're going to do. You could climb that mountain. You could go to Paris. 6 months from now, when you make a list of all of the things you have accomplished in the last 6 months, you could blow your own mind. But you have to understand that you are in control. We have got to stop this pervasive, disgusting idea that we should run ourselves ragged in pursuit of this. Because when you get to the top of the mountain, there's just another mountain. And I'm here, climb the mountain.
I love what she's saying here. I agree with everything. However, coming from her lips, it just is so far away from acknowledgement. Like, oh, did you know that if you climb the mountain, there's just another mountain? Okay, says who? You? Give me an example. Give me some context about how you are able to say that. Nope, doesn't say that. Won't say that at all. It just, yes, I agree with what she's saying. This is sort of more of my style of belief at this point. But I feel like I've tried to be honest about like my history and the mistakes I've made to get to the point that I'm at. She refuses to do that. And that's what bothers me.
Do all the things, build a $1 billion business. But you are going to need strength for the ascent. You're going to need the warrior spirit, and that's not going to be available if you have depleted every single part of yourself along the way. If your spirit is exhausted, you don't have to tell me, but as I'm standing here speaking on the stage, there are people in this room who's like, I am freaking exhausted. I'm tired. I'm not sleeping. I'm overwhelmed. Do not buy the myth that is normal. It's not normal.
She told people to wake up early. Like in the freaking video that she made the ClickFunnels with, she uses images of the journals that she had from the past. And in the journals, should I pull it up immediately? In the journals, it says like, like in the printed journal, not what she wrote, but like what was written. So not what she wrote in herself, but in the printed journal that she sells. At the top, it says like, get up an hour earlier. Eliminate one whole category of foods. Like these are the tips that she's giving, or these are the prompts that she's putting in this journal that she's still advertising today. This is very different message than what she's saying here, which is take a nap, live your life, live hard, whatever that means to her. But yet, the message that she's actually selling to people for $20 or however much her journals cost is completely the opposite. So it's hypocritical to me, and I can't square these two things until she makes an acknowledgement of, I was the leader of this toxic culture at my company. In the lexicon of, I don't know if that's the right word for it, of women empowerment. I was on covers of magazines and told people to hustle for their dreams, and now I see how flawed that is. I screwed up. That's all I want from her, and I would leave her alone. But here we are, in denial. Denial Town. More fun. Denial Drive. Welcome to Denial Drive, where we have all the latest Rachel Hollis content for you. Mantras, speeches, forgotten dreams, and journals. See you on the way out. Okay, we're almost done, I swear.
Everybody gets overwhelmed. Everybody feels anxious sometimes. Everyone feels afraid. But there is a better way to do your life, and you are in control of figuring out what it is. The last thing I'm going to ask you to write down in your journal for later is, what can I do? You go back all the way to the Stoics. They taught us this, right? Don't focus on what you cannot control. Only focus on what you can. One of my favorite quotes is from Tony Robbins. Where focus goes, energy flows. What can you change? Where are the points of tension? What feels hard? What can you make better? You would be shocked at just a little bit of weight coming off your shoulders, making you feel like you can fly. Ugh. And when you feel like you have that freedom, I swear.
Like a butterfly, like I learned at the Show Up Summit hosted by Heidi Powell. She never cries that much anymore. I learned that I could fly like butterfly. Caterpillars are stupid. That's what I learned at the Heidi Powell conference. Okay, sorry.
I swear, the business explodes because you have clarity and you have access.
I thought we don't want the business to explode, because when the business explodes, then you're miserable. I'm confused.
And you have resources and you feel empowered, yeah? And even if only a little part of this resonated with you, there's some digging deeper that you can do. Your life is supposed to feel good. It's hard sometimes, but it's not supposed to be hard all the time. And you are in control of making it better.
No, you're not.
And if you figure it out for yourself, you can figure it out for your communities and your babies and your sisters and the people that you love the most. You are in this room because you are a leader. We don't need more fans in this world. We need more leaders. And it is
Rachel needs some more fans. That's for sure. Okay.
To tell people that if they do this, this, and this, they can make so much money. But also, if you do this, this, and this, you can make it really good.
Oh.
And you can teach other people how to do the same. I appreciate the time with you guys. Thank you for
mic drop moment. You could do this, this, and this. I'm not going to tell you what this, and this is, because I have no effing idea. But you could also do this, and this, which I'm not also going to share because I don't know, and it's hypocritical for me to say, because just a year earlier I was calling people toilet cleaners on TikTok and not thinking that that was a problem. So anyways, that's my speech, bitches. Just puff of smoke, and then she just descends down the stage. Well, once again, we've reached the end of our criticism. Oh my God, it's 1 a.m. Jeez. Whoopsies.